As you are well aware, that the Bahujan Samaj Party is founded by its founder President Honorable Kanshiramji. Now the basic question is why he founded the Bahujan Samaj Party when so many political parties of the Dalits or the backwards or the minorities were operating at a smaller level in one corner or another corner of the country. And the prime reason is that all such a small fractions or the groups or the political parties operating in the different parts of the country were by and large dependent upon other status quoist political parties such as the Congress, the Bharatiya Janata Party, the left and the right, and so many other political parties. Secondly, these parties were operating without an agenda laid down by our greatest liberator, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. As you know, the history of our country or the history of the emancipation of the downtrodden of this country is altogether different, which needs to be understood in the context of understanding the Bahujan Samaj Party. As you know very well, this country is vertically divided into the caste and the subcaste. It is a fragmented culture. It is a divided society. And in this divided society, caste-based society, the victims of the caste mechanism are the scheduled caste, the tribes, the backwards and the minorities. And the scheduled caste, the tribes, the backwards and the minorities, they have revolted from time to time for their basic rights, such as water, right to walk on the street, right to vote, right to representation, right to employment, right to education. Such kinds of revolts have been taken place throughout the country in a different period of times. Whether it was Ayyankali in Kerala, Periyar in Tamil Nadu, Srinarayana Guru again in Travancore, Princess State, or even Mahatma Phule, Rajarshi Shahu Maharaj in Maharashtra, Baba Saheb Ambedkar at all India level, or Gurucharan Thakur in the West Bengal and so many others. There have been more than 200 great leaders who have struggled and waged war against the system of a caste for the assertion of the basic rights or the human rights of the Dalits, the tribals, the backwards and the minorities, the victims of the caste culture. Now all these struggles were culminated in the national level struggle of the great leadership of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar right from 1916 to 1956. And the Baba Saheb Ambedkar gave a new national level dimension to this great struggle in the modern era when India was on the verge of the independence. And on independence, fortunately, to the luck of all the victims of the caste culture in this country, Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar became the prime source of the constitution making process in this country. And through the Constitution of India, he could safeguard several social, educational, cultural, and political rights of the downtrodden. But after Baba Saheb Ambedkar, although there were so many Dalit leaders, organizations, groups, they had no capacity to take ahead the caravan of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar. And therefore from 1956 to almost 65-70, at all India level there was a vacuum of Ambedkarite movement. And this vacuum of Ambedkarite movement was rightly judged by BSP party founder president Honorable Kanshiram Sahab. And in order to fill that vacuum, in 1970 he started with the concept of the BAMSEP. In 1981 he started concept of the DS4. And after doing the preparatory work, after doing the non-political preparatory work to launch the political party, on 14th April 1984, he launched the Bahujan Samaj party, not related to any caste or religion, but it is a party of the Bahujans. The Bahujans means the majority people of this country. And who are the majority? The scheduled caste are scheduled tribes, the backward classes and minorities together. They constitute near about 85% to 90% population of this country. And when they constitute 85 to 90% Bahujan Samaj of this country, it is needless to say that in a democratic system, when we have accepted a parliamentary democracy through our written constitution, in a parliamentary democracy, the majority should rule and not the minority. Unfortunately, in India, in the name of democracy, the minority rules over the majority. Minority, top 10 to 15% of the top elite class of this country. We call it as, in terms of the casteism, the so-called upper caste elites. They rule this country, and this is the mockery of a democracy. Ambedkar suggested that SC, ST, OBC minorities should come together, form the political alliance, and if they form the political alliance, they can rule this country. Now, this message of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar was not taken seriously by so many organizations, the leaders in this country. And there was the exception of Kanshiramji, who took it seriously, built up a necessary infrastructure to put into the practice the exact message of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. And after doing whole preparations, he launched with the political party with the sole aim that in a democracy, the majority should govern, the majority should rule, and not the minority. And therefore, the ultimate goal of the Bahujan Samaj party is what? The goal of the Bahujan Samaj party is that India has a democracy. In a democracy, majority people should rule. Scheduled caste, the tribes, the backwards and the minorities, they are in the majority, they should rule. Now, why they require the rule? And that's very important, which needs to be understood. Because historically, sociologically, culturally and politically, the scheduled caste, the tribes, the backwards and the minorities have been deprived for the ages from the power. And because they have been deprived from the power, either power of a political, employment, education, bureaucracy, all kinds of a power, they have become the slaves of the system. Now, slave can be liberated with the basic rights and giving some power to him, which is due to him under a democratic setup. And that exactly Bahujan Samaj Party thinks, that these neglected sections of Indian society, the victims of the caste culture, socially, economically, politically, culturally oppressed, exploited and persecuted minorities, they should form one political coalition. And this political coalition, through mobilizing the vote bank, they should capture the power and they should rule this country, because it was the goal of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar that my people should become the ruling class of this country, the governing class of this country, and then only they can live with a dignified life in this country, and that's the aim of the Bahujan Samaj Party.